Let's start with the today's session. We are going to discuss about the module second, Kubernetes core concept, and in this module we will discuss about the Kubernetes pod. So before coming to what is Kubernetes pod, let's take an example of a Docker container or a microservice where let's suppose our job is to deploy a microservice architecture to the cloud. We have microservices, and let's suppose we have web container, and the developer have already packaged each microservices into a Docker image. As you see in the diagram, we have the Docker, we have the microservices image, okay, and we have Docker installed on each node, we can say here. Now, since we have the package available in the form of Docker image, now what we can do, we can manage the deployment of this ourselves, right? So what we can do, we could fire up a node on the cloud system like Amazon Web Service, Google, anywhere, and we could log into the node, and then we could start running Docker command line. So what I will do, I could do this for one Docker container with Docker container run command, and with the name of the image, and then I could go ahead and do all for the other microservices in the web container. Okay, but how and who will manage this container? We have just 5 or 6 container here running with each microservice, but what about, let's say we have hundred of images or microservices for a real system, and managing this architecture is going to be very difficult, right? Or let's suppose you have thousands of or hundreds of container, or in the night we receive a call that one of the container is down, or one of your application is down. How will you restart this container? Who is going to restart this container in the midnight? Okay, so the way we use the Kubernetes to orchestrate this system, so here our Kubernetes is going to be responsible for managing the starting and stopping of the containers. Now there is lots of concepts behind managing this Kubernetes pod, like replica set, services, deployments. We'll cover this later. So at this point, we'll just understand in the simple way that for every container that we are planning to deploy, we are going to create a pod in Kubernetes, and you can think of each of these pod as just a part of the container. Okay, and so every one of these microservices is going to become a pod. So so that's what our pod is running inside the container. So what happened in case of Docker? In case of Docker, we create an image and you run this image inside a container. But in case of Kubernetes, something different. Here we are running your container inside a pod. So always your container is available inside a pod. We can have more than one pod. We can have more than one container inside a pod. So let's see what is pod. So pod here represents a group of one or more containers, and all the containers in the pod are guaranteed to run on the same machine in the Kubernetes clusters. Okay, so basically what happened here, you see the diagram, we have pod, and inside the pod we have Nginx container is running on top of that. So we can say that pod is a logical applications. It's represent a logical application, and it holds a collection of one or more container. Okay, it's shared. It's have the shared namespace, one more IP per node, Let's go to the next slide. So what the relationship between containers, pod and nodes? As you can see in this below picture, we have two worker nodes, and each worker node have pods. In worker node 1 we have 2 pod, and worker node pod we can see have only 1 pod, but we can have multiple pod on each node. On worker node 1 we have pod 1 where we have only 1 container. In pod 2 we have 2 container, and again in worker node 2 we have 2 container. So you can see here each pod have their own IP address. So let's suppose we have the multiple container inside the pod. It's sharing the same IP address, it's sharing the same namespace, it's going to share the same volume which are available inside a pod. Okay. So what I want to say that when you have multiple container inside the pod, it's have the same namespace, it's have the same IP address, it's have the same volume which is going to share. Now understand more about the pod. As I said, pod is co-located group of containers and represents the basic building blocks in the Kubernetes. You can see we have multiple containers which are co-located inside the pod, and we can have multiple container inside a pod. It's not necessary that a pod always have one container. We'll see the scenario where we can have multiple containers inside the pod. One thing here, a pod cannot be shared on a multiple nodes. So if you see the diagram here, picture, we have the pod 5. This pod 5 can be either on worker node 1 or worker node 2. It cannot be hanging in between the worker node 1 or worker node 2. Now, what is single container pod? So, single container pod is nothing where we have only one container running on each node, each pod. Okay. Where you have only one application running inside the pod. Okay, so we can take the example of Nginx container running inside a pod only. Okay, now multi-container pod, a common use case would be for applications which are dependent on other application services for their functioning. So you can see that we have a pod that have the multiple containers. One is the we can say the main container, another is called the helper container. Okay, and pod have also the volumes. So here the volumes are just the data, we can say division that lives as long as the pod lives, and can be used by any of the container in the pod. And there is also possibility that because of the pod provides a shared namespace for the contents, that will have the same IP address. Okay, and also it can communicate with each others. Okay, since they have the attached volume. Okay, so pod can share a network namespace. That means a pod has a IP address, and which can be shared by both of the containers. Okay, so we can see the example here. There are two containers that share persistent volume. One of the containers is writing data to the storage volume, while another containers process and publish the same data to its consumer through the web service. Now init container. What is init container here? Init container is like we can say it's very similar to our multi-container. Okay, but init container are a specialized container that runs before the normal containers in a pod. Okay, so here usually init containers we used to set up scripts that we are not able to make it as a part of our main container. So when do you use this init container? So we'll see the example with this diagram here. So here init containers can be used to deploy any application container. Okay, and this application container will not start until a set of preconditions are met. So what are the preconditions? So let's say we have to download a security key from the key vault here, and which you do not wish to make it as a part of our regular container for some security reason. Then how will you do this? So here it comes the init container. Then init container is the best choice. So if you see this picture here, so what is do? The secret is downloaded and made available in the volume for which the main container will access. Okay. So let's go to the next. What are the features of pod? Okay, so the pod features are load balancing, self-healing, auto scaling, rolling update, and resource monitoring. We'll see more in details how the pod do the load balancing, auto scaling, self-healing with the example with the lab. Now pod life cycle. So each pod have their own phases. So basically there are 5 phases, that's are pending, running, success, failed, and unknown. So what is pending? So pending, it reflects the time spent in downloading the container image and creating them. So when you download the image from the any Docker registry, the time it takes, so at that time our pod is in the pending state. Okay, and it also means that your system has accepted the pod. Now next is the running. In case of running, pod is now with the bind with the node and your container is in the running status. Next is the succeeded, where a container termination in the Kubernetes is successful and it will not be restarted. Fourth is the failed, where one or more containers termination is unsuccessful and the termination could be the failure of either of the non-zero exist status of the container. Last is unknown here. So when there is a communication problem of a container with the host machines, the status of the container cannot be obtained, and in that case you can see it's an unknown status. And since there is no status to update, Kubernetes system mark it as an unknown. Okay. Now so why actually we use the container, or why we are using the pod? What is the need to use the pod? So there's a multiple needs. One of the is, we can say that containers can work well alone, but when scaled up it becomes difficult to apply patches to them and their management becomes very difficult. Second, we can say that orchestration is required to help in scaling the container. Third, we can say that orchestration capability is provided by the Kubernetes. Fourth, we can say that pods are building blocks of the Kubernetes and it's very easy to manage your container. Okay, so these are the features of the pod. If you want to learn more about the pod, we can go to this link of the Kubernetes IO page. We can learn more about the pod. In the next topic, we'll see how to write a pod, what are the various ways to deploy the pod, and hands-on lab and the project. We'll see. Thank you very much for watching the video.